Hey everyone, welcome to Data Millennials. I am Atul, and in this video we are going to see how we can use the date function in Excel. So in our day-to-day life, whenever we are working with any kind of Excel data, there is a date column, and that might be today's date or on the day that value has been added or the data has been added or on a specific date that transaction has happened or anything. But it's very common that in all sort of data you will always have a certain date column, and most often we are using those date column for our reporting purpose. So before we use that date column in our reporting purpose, we might have to do multiple data manipulation with that date column, something like this, that you have to extract the date or you have to add a certain number of days, then you have to get either certain month or you have to get the certain year's value or something like that. So we will see how we can use this date function in Excel, which can help us for our data manipulation or data cleaning in Excel. So we have three examples here. The first example is to subtract 15 days from Jan 1st, 2022. The second example is to return the first day of the current month and current year. And the third example is to get the order date in year, month, day format. So we'll go ahead with the first example. So you have a date here, January 1st, 2022, and you have to subtract 15 days from this particular date. Now, what you can do here is that in most of the simple ways, you can simply take the date value from the cell and you subtract it by 15 days, right? Something like this, that you take the cell reference and put minus 15 and you get the value. But in this case, we are getting a hash value because there is an error. And the error is because this date, which is in cell A5, is actually a text, not a date. So what we can do is that first we can convert this particular cell value into date, and then we can subtract the 15 days. So to do that, what we will do is that we will simply use this date function. We'll put equal to date and then we'll put the year value. So our year value is 2022. Then we have to put the month value. So the month value is 1 and the day value is also 1. Now as you can see, it has been converted into the proper date format. And now if we want to subtract 15 days from this particular date, we will get the value. So let's minus 15 days here. Now you are getting 17th December 2021. Now you might be thinking is that what exactly or how exactly this date function is useful to us. So let me tell you, this Excel date function creates a valid date from the individual year, month and a day component. The date function is very useful for assembling dates that needed to be changed dynamically based on other values in the worksheet. So whenever you need to create a range of dates dynamically, then you will use this date function in Excel. The whole purpose of this function is to create a date with year, month and day and return the value as a valid Excel date. That's why I kept this example to show you that this also represents the date, but this is not a valid Excel date. It's actually a text. So that's why this date function is very useful. And as we have used this date function here, you can see that it has three arguments. First one is year. It represents the number of year. Second one is month, that represents the number of month, and the third argument is day, which represents the number of day. Now the date function creates a date using individual year, month and day, as we have seen here, as their argument, and each argument is provided as a number here, and the result is a serial number that represents a valid Excel date. So in general, the date function is the safest way to create a date in an Excel formula, because this year, month and day values are numeric and unambiguous. So in contrast to text representation of dates, which can be misinterpreted. So this is the example I'm talking about. This is date and it is in text. So it basically represents the date, but it can misinterpret it by Excel. So that's why we have to always use this date function in this format so that Excel can recognize it as a valid Excel date for our calculations or data manipulations. So let's go ahead with the second example here. For our second example, we have to return the first day of the current year and the current month. Now we are not talking about the date. For example, 2nd February 2022, we are talking about the day. So how we can do that? We can simply put equal to date, and then the first argument for us is the year. So we'll put year. Year is also a function in Excel. Then we'll put today. That will give us the today's date, and this year will give us the today's date year, which will be 2022. Now what we'll do is that we'll simply put 1, which is month. So we have to get the current month, and right now we are in February. So if I put 2 here, and then if I put 1, and if I close the bracket, you can see we are getting the first day, right? Now what if I want to automate or put this 2 as a dynamic also? So what you can do is that you can put here month, and then you can put today and close the bracket. So now you are getting the value dynamically for month as well as year. So we have to return the first day. What we can do here is that we can simply use the text formula to get the first day. We'll put text, and then we'll put 3 times D, and then we'll close the bracket. So we have got a value which is Tuesday. So now if I check the calendar, the first day of my current year, of my current month, should be Tuesday. Let's check it. So 1st February is Tuesday here. So our output is correct. Now let's move on to the third example that we have here. The third example is to get the order date in this particular format, year, month and day format. So what we can do is that we can simply use the date function here. Now whenever you get your data through a certain database, for example, if you are extracting your data from SQL or from some other databases, there might be a possibility that you will have your data and all of the date columns are separated in this way, like day, month and year. Now if you want to concatenate all of these 3 dates and put it as a proper date, then you should always use this date function. Now with this date function, the first argument you have to give is year, so I'm putting order year. Then the second argument it's asking is month, so I'll use this month. And then the third argument and the last argument is asking the day, so I'll take this order day and I'll close the bracket. Now you can see here it's giving us the accurate result, 27/06/2000. So I have used here rand between function, so it will keep on changing whenever I'll press enter, or if I'll change anything in the sheet, so I'll paste it as values here. Now if I'll drag this formula in this cell, ideally we should get 3rd December 2013 in a proper date format. So let's drag it here. So this is our output, 3rd December 2013. And now suppose if I want to add a certain days in this particular set, then we can add it over here using simply equal to this plus 10. So we have a 10 days addition in this cell. Let's drag this formula also here. So 10 days after 3rd December is 13th December. Now if you have used text or some other formula to convert these columns into a date, then that might not work when you are doing any kind of calculation like this, that we have added 10 days here. So this is how you can use the Excel date function to create a valid date from individual year, month and day component.